This podcast will fail. Mostly because nobody's going to listen to it. But you might prove me wrong. Who knows? Here we are in episode 17 of this podcast that will fail. We are in the home stretch of season 1. My 15 years of failure. So, covered a lot of ground over the last 2.5 weeks or so. Walk through kind of a internal dialogue out loud. And anybody that has taken a moment to listen to any of this, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Though the whole premise is I already know going in that this is not going to be successful in terms of a digital property that will capture the attention of the average podcast consumer. That's okay. This has been an exploration of all of the various online and creative products and projects that I have tried to build and tried to get famous off of in one way or another, and that each one in their own term has failed. To put too fine a point on it. Big news last night, however. My wife finally asked what I was doing. So, I mentioned this a few times that normally she's very much in tune with what I'm up to with my various creative ventures. She's always been my sounding board. She's many times played, listening sessions for me, and she's been the one to bounce ideas off of. She's been directly involved in some of these projects. And this time I decided to just give her a break and not burden her with my next get-rich-quick scheme. I just decided, okay, I'm not really telling anybody, and we've covered it a few times, but I have told some other individuals about the existence of this project, but not what it's called and not where it is. So finally last night, she turns to me and says, "Hey, what are all these videos you're making on Headliner? What are you doing?" I was like, well, took you long enough. I've been sitting here for the last 16 days wondering when you were finally going to say something, darling. So I laid it out. I laid out the impetus of this podcast, which was to allow me an opportunity to have a conversation out loud about what I've been doing and how I feel about everything I've done, and some of the self-actualization that I've managed to accomplish, some of the ability I have given myself to self-deprecate and admit to the things I've done wrong on my own. Right? That I'm responsible for. The decisions that I've made and the times that I've given up and the times that I have gotten it wrong, I guess is the word I'm trying to say. So that was interesting, and she didn't have too much to say. I don't know if she felt some kind of way about it, as the kids say. Like I said, she's always been so supportive of every stupid thing I do that I hope that I didn't cause insult by not sharing this with her. But at the same time, I know she is the first one to always correct me when I do self-deprecate or when I try to hold myself accountable for things. She is the first one to try to prop me up and tell me, no, it's good, you're okay, you didn't do anything wrong, and that's why she's an awesome spouse, and that's why we've been married for 26 years coming up next month, and why we've been best friends and partners for almost 28 years come April next year, if the world is still here by then. Okay, so today for episode 17, I wanted to talk about social media. Finally, I've been kind of hinting and teasing for a while that I wanted to talk about social media, especially in the context of a content creator, and I shall expound upon this concept. However, I would like to say rather succinctly two things. One, social media sucks. Yeah, just let that biscuit float for a second there. If you don't think it does, you're fooling yourself. And if you're a content creator, you know damn well I'm right. Social media sucks. Point number two is, again, a little more personal. I suck at social media, and I always have. And I've been creating digital content online for 15 years, and I've never been good at it. Even from the dawn of social media, from the launch of Facebook, I was there, right? I was hosting an internet radio show at the dawn of Facebook. So at the time, we're advertising our stuff through MySpace. I'm not kidding. There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. I don't even know if there's a Reddit. I'd have to look up and see when Reddit came around. So I've been there since the beginning, and I have, in all that time, never successfully grasped social media marketing. Now, I know that there are plenty of people that do, and more than enough people that are apparently good at it and successful at it. Ballyhoo, good for you. But I have had a tumultuous relationship with social media, to say the least. I will say that my number one sore spot is easily Twitter. Twitter is different things to different people. To me, it is a huge waste of my time and effort, and a massive disappointment every single time I think that Twitter is going to be successful for me. I just don't get it. And here's the thing. My early experience with Twitter as a attempted social media marketer was that it is the biggest echo chamber anywhere. I don't see consumers on Twitter that would follow what I do. I never have. I have never gained any kind of fan base or followers or anything on a regular basis from Twitter. Screw regular basis, ever from Twitter. The only people that have ever followed me on Twitter are people that are hoping I will follow them back. And why? Pray tell. You know why. You know perfectly well why. Because that's what people do on Twitter. The whole thing is predicated on follow for follow. I'm trying to sell you some shit, and you're trying to sell me some shit, and neither one of us is interested in buying each other's shit. We just want that follower on our list. It's pointless. There's no actual engagement. There's no actual interest in being a consumer of someone else's product. It's just a big echo chamber. Now, I got the original attempt at Twitter, got what looked like a respectable following by that very model, this whole follow for follow model. I at the time, I ramped Twitter up, this is late 2009 and 10, to like 10,000 followers. Woo! Yeah, no, none of those 10,000 people give a crap about me or my thing. It was just blindly clicking buttons to follow people and hope that they follow back. Now, the proof positive, all these years later, 15 something, 10 whatever years later, I don't know, is that I tried to rebrand the Twitter each time I would do a new project. I've had the same Twitter handle for 12 years, and each time I try to rebrand it as an attempt to bring that follower, quote-unquote, base with me to the next project and get on the ground with an immediate following with numbers behind it. This most recent time around the block, it became evident very quickly that nobody in that follow list could care less about me, about who I was, or what I was doing. I was tweeting things on the regular, not trying to pitch. Now, let's be honest here. A lot of it comes down to how you use the platform, right? You could be out there trying to spam every single day, and unless you're paying for targeted ads that are going to put that spam in front of the person who's a likely buyer, the people following you don't want to just hear what you've got to sell, right? They want engagement, and that's why I didn't get those followers legitimately in the past. But now, in this past year, I pivoted and tried to utilize Twitter in a more human capacity, and I was tweeting things and ideas and stuff, and retweeting other people and commenting and just trying to be a real person in the Twitter space. And with the exception of about 3 friends that I've carried through from previous projects, nobody cared. Nobody cared. So I started unfollowing people at a rapid pace. And you know what happened? Nobody cared. I still have the same 1,800 people following me, and they couldn't give a crap less because they don't even know they're following me. If they ever saw my tweets, it just kept scrolling, whatever. It's just, I hate Twitter. I hate Twitter. My wife loves Twitter. My wife uses Twitter very successfully as her social media platform, communicating with a lot of cool people and following the things she likes and the people she likes, and I don't get it. That's fine. Facebook's not too much better. Facebook, I learned very early on in the YouTube channel days, the early, 16, 17, that Facebook is set up to be a pay-for-play arena, no matter how you split it. You can go ahead and put together a page for free. You can put as many of them as you want. I got like 15 pages. I finally started retiring a couple of them. You make as many pages as you want, you make as many groups as you want, but no one will ever see that stuff until you manually put it in front of someone or you pay to have it put in front of people. And even once you get somebody to actually click on that like button for that page or join that group, the things you post are not shown to all of those followers equally. They admit it. They come right out and say that these posts will not be shown to everybody who follows the page unless you pay to promote. Which is just, oh, wow, what a money grab. Okay, wow. Like, I've done the legwork to get people to follow me on this platform, which means I have done the legwork to bring people into Facebook into a spot where you, Mr. Zuckerberg and Facebook, you can show them an ad and you can get paid. I did that legwork to get them there, but I don't get the benefit because they don't get to see every single post that I make. So that's just a ridiculous, pay-for-play cesspool. Especially in the YouTube context, the proliferation of Facebook groups for YouTube creators is nothing more than another version of the follow for follow, view for view, subscribe for subscribe, sub for sub Twitter model. It's no different. And I was in these groups for so long. I've got one more that I'm still in, that I'm still an administrator on, that I just every day I think about writing to the page owner and saying, or the group owner and saying, look, I'm done. Thank you for your faith in me, but I'm so sick and tired of seeing these notifications from small YouTubers saying, hey guys, my newest channel's up, my newest video's up. Oh my God, your boy's back. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares who you are. That's the truth. Nobody knows who you are, and nobody cares who you are. Everybody in that group is there hoping that everybody else will look at their own stuff. There's no consumer. It's all content creators promoting to other content creators who are promoting to them. It's a ridiculous circular logic, and I just finally this year have broken out of this mindset where I saw any value in any of it anyway. Because I'm not all about pumping money into this stuff. You know, there's no organic growth in any way unless you are somehow already positioned in a way to be popular with what pop culture wants. And Instagram models, even Instagram models are having their heyday, and it's waning down very quickly. YouTube itself is again a lot of the same thing. There's, you know, if you call YouTube a social network, it's kind of the same thing. People subscribe to other channels because, and I've said this early on in a couple episodes back, you know, I'm going to show up and watch your video every single week because I know that when you see my comment, you'll show up and watch my video every single week, and I'll know you were there because you left a comment, which means I'll go back and watch your channel again. And then you multiply that by a couple hundred people, and you're spending literally hours every single day watching other people's content to be able to leave a comment that is relevant and not just hi, you know, not just timestamp. You know, if somebody watched 10 seconds of your video and was like, great vid, keep it up. No, you didn't watch. So you try to do actual engagement. You try to build a community. You try to build connections, and you're just devoting hours and hours and hours of your time, which, by the way, it takes hours and hours and hours of time to even create the damn videos. And then the time to promote them, and then the time to market them, and then the time to try to do every other damn thing with them. It's just this social media, man. It's this big, ridiculous echo chamber that I am just absolutely done with. And I don't care to learn anymore. I've made a couple attempts to educate myself on this process of reaching out to people on social media and marketing a product and marketing a whatever, and it just doesn't go anywhere. Never does. And honestly, I don't see where it ever will. That's why there's no social media for this podcast. This podcast will fail because I'm not even going to try to promote it. I'm not going to make social media accounts for this. I'm not going to get out there and post links and spam and do every other stupid thing that you're supposed to do to promote things. I'm just done. I'm absolutely done with it. I don't know. I don't know where the future goes for this, right? I don't know. I know, this is what I do know. I know that every day during the week I'm going to sit here in my car and I'm going to talk to this phone, and then I'm going to publish that and put it out there in podcast form, and then, by the way, into a YouTube video for a channel that now has daily videos scheduled to drop every single day that nobody is subscribed to, that nobody is going to actually watch. So in another version of this on YouTube, this podcast will once again fail. And again, that's kind of the point. It's kind of the impetus of all this was to allow myself to create something with no expectations. Just do it. Make it happen. Make something and put it out there for the world. And if somebody sees it, fine, great. Cool, man. Hope you liked it. Thanks. But I'm not going to sit there and beg you to subscribe. I'm not going to beg you to subscribe to my RSS feed or any of it anymore. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm just some guy. I'm some schmuck. And this is what I got for you. So, okay, that's enough for today. I've got a couple more things to say. So I guess 3, I'd love to get 3 more episodes out of this, 18, 19, and 20. I do need to maybe inject a little bit of positivity. So I'm going to think through some things that went well and try to talk about those tomorrow, and then we'll see what the final couple episodes holds. So anybody that started the podcast early on, thanks. I know you're not still here 20 minutes later, and even if you were, you don't have a way to tell me you were here, but you know what, it doesn't matter, and I appreciate it nonetheless. So that's it. I'm done. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one.